What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Nothing But Skills, and today we're going to be talking about some of my questions and concerns I have for the Division 2, focused on PvP in general and mainly focused on the PvP game modes. Now, I know they've talked about the dark zones. There's 3 different dark zones. They dropped the player count from 24 players down to 12 players, so that means there can be up to 3 full groups in one DZ because they're a little bit smaller. Now, from what other YouTubers are saying, the 3 dark zones are probably like dark zone 1, 2, 3 combined, and maybe even 1 or 2 of them are like dark zone 7 and 9. So it's hard to really tell, but they're saying that's around what the size is. Now, I don't really have any issues with that because they did say that there's solo player queuing and then there's group queuing. I would have liked to see at least 16 players, so we could have had 4 4-man groups going against each other. That would have been kind of cool, right? But maybe due to the size of the dark zone, they couldn't do that. Now, my concern in general doesn't have nothing to do with the dark zone, but I do know a lot of players have some question about voice over IP. So when you aren't rogue, you can talk to all the players, but then once you go rogue, you go into your own voice over frequency. So that means you can no longer talk to any players in the dark zone once you're rogue. Now, some people say that's a bad thing. Some people like that. Some people always had their voice over IP off. If you guys don't know what that is, that's proximity chat. So you can hear players who were within a proximity of you. Now, that makes for some really good content. So a couple of the YouTubers are a little upset. The streamers are a little upset, but in general, I've been seeing a lot of people say, hey, it's a good thing. Some people have been saying it's a bad thing. I don't have a personal opinion on that. That doesn't really bother me too much. Now, what I really do have a concern with is the PvP game modes they spoke about. Now, we're going to get into that right now. But first, what I want you to do is I want you to listen to what they had to say about the PvP game modes real quick.
Conflict, our organized PvP experience for the Division 2, will also be available at launch. Conflict modes pitch a team of 4 SHD agents against a team of 4 rogue agents across domination and skirmish game modes in 3 new maps located outside of the main story. These modes feature their own progression system, granting rewards that players can bring back in the main open world of the Division 2. In domination, teams battle for control of 3 capture zones. Stay in the zone with your team, or perform special actions to keep scoring and deny the zone to the opposing team, using your skills and agent toolbox wisely. In skirmish, each team aims at reducing the opposing team reinforcement to 0. This mode supports intense and highly tactical engagements where communication is the key to victory when aiming for the top of the leaderboard.
So let's talk about that a little bit. In Division 1, we had Last Stand and Skirmish. In Division 2, they're calling everything Conflict, but Conflict is Skirmish, which is 4v4, just like it was in Division 1. And then they have Domination, which we had what was called Last Stand in Division 1. But in Division 1, we had an 8v8 where we captured set points that were already there, A, B, and C. But in Division 2, it's supply drops that come down after everybody gets a chance to kind of get into their positions and fight for their positions, right? The biggest concern I have with this is what made Last Stand so unique is you had 8v8 players fighting each other. So it was mass confusion, it was a lot of combat, and what I'm concerned is the maps are going to be a little small in Division 2 for the organized PvP. Yes, it's going to be fun. Skirmish was fun. I always had fun in Skirmish, but for me, Last Stand is where it was all at. I had so much fun playing Last Stand. Just the amount of people you would always see, the amount of people you would always fight. It was a lot of fun. It was intense, and the maps were big, so you could fit those 8v8s. Now, maybe the reason for them only doing 4v4 is because the maps are too small to fit 8 players. Maybe they have plans for the future of adding Last Stand or a former Last Stand with 8v8 going head to head. But I just think there's so much they could have capitalized with Last Stand, with seeing how many people enjoy Last Stand, with all the game modes they could have done with 8v8. We could have had to capture the flag. We could have had secure the objective. There were just so many game modes that they could have had for those hardcore PvP players that just don't have enough time to go into the dark zone, don't really like going into the dark zone by themselves. Well, they could have queued in for a nice AV8 and had some fun. But the fact that we only have 12 people in the dark zone might be a key indicator that it's just the maps are too small at this moment. The dark zones are 12 players at a time. And then if you think about the organized PvP, it's 4v4, so it's 8 players at a time. Now, could they up it up to 6v6? I'm assuming they could, but I don't know how big those maps are for this organized PvP. Now, I'm hoping that even if we just get skirmish and domination with 4v4, maybe in the future with DLCs, they can add that 8v8 or even 6v6. I just feel that having that many players, at least 8v8, and you put them in an environment where they're fighting each other just makes for great chaos and great fights. And that's what I would like to see, right? Like all of you guys who enjoy Last Stand, I know I've seen so many comments where people were saying, what happened to Last Stand? How come they don't have 8v8? That's because a lot of people still play 8v8. If you get on PlayStation 4 right now, or even Xbox, you can get into a Last Stand match really fast. Now on the PC side, it's not as busy, but on the console side, Last Stand is probably one of the funnest game modes because a lot of guys just like PvP and they don't have time to go into the dark zone, look for players, try to find teammates, try to fight other teams. They want something that's a little bit more even, a little bit more optimized, because remember, when you guys do go into Last Stand, everything is optimized and everything is normalized. So that means everybody is on an even playing field. I honestly do love what they did to the matchmaking though. Matchmaking for organized PvP also occurs in 2 separate brackets. In one bracket, all players who have not reached world tier and begin endgame are matched together and normalized to the same power level. And then in the other bracket, all players who have reached world tier are matched together, normalized, and they're in the same world tier. So that's pretty cool. Now, just like in Division 1 in Last Stand and Skirmish, while normalization is active to reduce like the peaks and valleys between players with high survivability and high damage output in organized PvP, minor stat advantages will still be available to players who put in hours into their builds. So if you have an amazing build in Division 1, say a really good striker build, and you fight somebody who just threw a striker build together, you would probably beat them in a 1v1 fight 95% of the time in Last Stand. The same thing is going to happen in Division 2. If you put hours into your build and you get those perfect rolls, everything will be better, just like in Division 1. While balancing is a factor to take into account when crafting a build, remember, the build choices are still unique and offer a variety of gameplay options. Skill-based matchmaking is what I honestly really like what they did, based on many factors such as wins, losses, also plays a role in organized PvP matchmaking. When completing PvP matches, players increase PvP level that is different from the Dark Zone and overall character level as well. So just like in Division 1, you had a rank for Last Stand and you had a rank for the Dark Zone. Totally separate from each other. Now, one thing they did announce that I think everybody will be happy with, I have no questions and concerns on it. They are happy to announce that there will be separate balancing in effect for PvE and PvP modes. Skills and talents in organized PvP, for example, will have normalized versions that have different stats than their PvE counterparts. In the Division 2, we wanted to make sure that they keep PvP competitive, healthy, without negatively impacting players who only enjoy PvE. So that is something everybody should be saying. Thank you, Jesus. They got it right. So to sum up this video, I'm really excited of everything I've seen, and I was concerned with only having 12 players in the Dark Zone, but realizing that the Dark Zones are a lot smaller than they are in the Division 1, I realized it was a good move for them. Now, I would like to see maybe another 4 players added so you could have 4 4-man groups and having a total of 16 players, but I don't even know if that's something that they can actually accommodate this late in the game. Now, one thing I do want to see though is a Last Stand mode with domination 8v8 in Division 2. I think it's something that a lot of players really want to see, right? Like a lot of players enjoy Last Stand. A lot of players enjoy that third person 8v8. There's not another game that gives you that type of intense battle with that many players. Even Ghost Recon Wildlands is only 4 players, and Division was the only game that gave you that. So hopefully in the future, maybe in future DLCs, we get that 8v8 and we can have those intense battles that a lot of you have enjoyed watching me play in Division 1 if you ever watch any of my streams. Now, one last thing I do want to talk about before we wrap this up is please add survival to Division 2. That game mode has a dear place in my heart, and I just can't see them not adding survival from Division 1 into Division 2. It's a battle royale mode, if some of you guys don't know, and it's just so unique. It's so much fun, and if they can do that in the DC environment, I think a lot of people will enjoy it. I could see that coming out in a DLC though. That would probably be part of one of the free DLCs that they're bringing to us. I don't see them bringing that at launch. I see that as a DLC that's free for everybody to play. I don't think they'll make you pay for it, because I think that's what hurt survival in Division 1, making people actually pay for that DLC. And that's going to wrap up this video, guys. If you guys have any questions, if you guys are concerned about anything, let me know in the comment section. That way maybe I can make a video on it. I can discuss it. I just want to say thank you guys again for all the support. If you're new to my channel, first time watching the video, hit that subscribe button. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, smash that thumbs up. Until the next video, nothing but skills out.